What's up, Amazon sellers? Learning to work smarter and not harder can improve your productivity, your performance, and obviously your sales and your profits. That's why in this video today, I'm going to share with you my plans for the month of July and the top tips for working smarter, not just harder. Stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson and I've been selling on Amazon now for 4 years. And quite simply, I'm doing the online arbitrage business model within the UK. Now, we post videos about Amazon selling, specifically online arbitrage, every week. So if you're interested in this kind of content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. That's just going to get you notified about the new videos that are coming out about my journey and how I can help you grow your online arbitrage business as well. So enough about me, what are we going to talk through today? Well, quite simply, number one, I'm going to give you a recap of my plans for June. Number two, I'm going to give you an update on what my plans for July 2021 are. And then number three, I'm going to share some top tips with you about working smarter and not harder. So let's jump into it now. First things first, let's talk about a recap of my plans for June and what happened, or what I said I was going to do and what actually happened. Okay, so first things first, last month I talked about the restock limits, and my God, who didn't talk about the restock limits? It seems to be the hot topic that everyone is talking about right now. Why? Because it affects everyone. Now, quite simply for us, what happened? Well, at the beginning of the month, or pretty much maybe the month before, we had 12,000 units in stock, and Amazon gave us a restock limit of only 6,000. We worked out it's going to take us 3 whole months to sell through the stock before we could ship any more products in. Now, what do? We sat down with our team, we talked about our processes, we talked about what's happening, we talked about, do we want to wait 3 months? And what we decided was that, you know what, we are going to sell through our stock. We don't mind taking a loss on certain lines or taking a much lower ROI. Why? Because our business is about shifting stock. It isn't about holding it for long term. Just isn't viable, especially with 7 VAs in my Amazon business. We had to get selling. So what did? We basically reduced our prices down, took a lower ROI, got the stock sold, and the net result was that, fortunately, not within 3 months, but within about 2.5 weeks, we managed to get our restock limits down, or should I say our stock levels down, but also as well, Amazon gave us additional stock space because we increased our sell-through rate, our volume, and as a result, we now have space in our business. So to put it at a fundamental level, what happened? We went from 12,000 units in stock down to 6,000 restock limit to now we have 6,000 units in stock with a restock limit of 12,000. Why? Because we're just now shifting a lot more stock. So the big lesson for us and what we're doing is that moving forward, we plan to increase the sell-through rate, increase the volume that we're selling, but maybe not hold stock for as long. It was just too long beforehand. So we are now going to change our strategy, looking for faster selling products that are going to help us shift those products a lot quicker. Now, I also mentioned it previously that I'd set a challenge to my purchasing manager that I want him to hit a goal in revenue of £100,000. I know, 6-figure seller in a month. Well, interesting enough, we didn't hit 100,000, we hit way more than that. And I think that was about 150,000 we hit over that month. So absolutely smashed it. But just remember, we dropped the prices of our products, we increased the sell-through rate, and as a result, our revenue or our actual profits decreased. So there's a big saying, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. Yes, we were still profitable, but definitely not as much as we wanted to be, and definitely not as much for the revenue we were doing. So we hit the 100K mark, super happy about that. We hit 150, I think it was, but quite simply, we are not achieving the profits that we wanted to, but we are still going to continue to drive that 100K revenue consistently to help us achieve that £1 million goal. So just be mindful of that. We did hit it, but maybe not in a perfect world that a lot of people would talk about. Now, the next thing we talked about is Amazon offering a £121,000 loan. Now, that is one hell of a lot of cash, and it's a big decision. So what did I do? I talked through with my admin assistant who does all my accounts to understand the impact of it. And if you want to know, for £121,000 worth of cash over the course of 12 months, it was going to be about £8,000 to £9,000 worth of interest we'd have to pay. So the worst case, we're going to lose £8,000 worth of profit if we did nothing with it. But I did some maths and I worked out that even if we could turn it just twice, we'd be making a nice chunk of change. So if I could turn that £121,000 twice over the course of the year, I'd be super happy. Now, what I also did is I went to my purchasing manager and I asked him to have a chat with his team to say, should we take the loan or not? Now, there was a lot of pros and there was a lot of cons, and we kind of weighed it up. It was concerns, and I think it was really important to listen to the team concerns about its debt, it's a risk, and there's a lot of worries about that. But what we did say is that actually, if you look at where we are and where we've been and where we're going to, we are growing as a company and we are growing more and more and more. Now, the interesting thing is the fact that to help facilitate that, we needed cash. And the one thing that we've seen over in just the last 2 weeks was my purchasing manager has increased his spend massively. And as a result, what does that mean? We needed more money. So on the very last day of the loan being available, I decided, I'm going to click the accept button. I'm going to take that £121,000 loan. And you know what? I've now got that in my business and we're going to start investing that into stock. So we're talking about the £1 million journey. Could this get much bigger? We're not sure, but I hope to keep you updated, and that loan is going to really help me on that journey. Why? Because I never even forecasted to have that much money in the business. That is just going to help me out. In addition to that loan, we're also trying to build a great culture in my business, and not only in my Amazon business, but also FastTrackFBA. So we went through a whole process of doing what's known as purpose or vision, mission, and values. And we went through a whole team building exercise for that. Now, quite simply, I'm not going to go into the details of all the vision and the values. We'll go through that later on and maybe create a video about it. But right now is a really nice experience that we went through and got the team involved in choosing the vision and the values that they wanted for our business. So that was really good. That is all done. Now, in addition to all of that, and that's on my UK side and the £1 million journey, on the USA side, and if you're following my USA journey as well, we've now had over $1,000 worth of sales at 63% ROI. I know, hashtag excited, but I've also as well hired a admin assistant for my team as well. So I've now got one admin assistant and 3 sourcing VAs, which is just going to help grow my business and save me doing a lot of that administration. So I'm so happy about that as well. She's going to do things like shipment handling, managing some of the accounts, and also supporting my other admin VA in the UK. So very happy about that. Now, I talked about it earlier, we had the problems with the restock limits. Now, as a result, the fundamental thing we learned from that is we needed to change our business model. Beforehand, what we saw is while we try and buy a month's worth of stock and get it sold, that just wasn't the reality. We were holding stock for too long, and as a result, we had 12,000 units in stock for only a restock limit of 6,000. The short answer is we needed to improve our sell-through rate or our days in inventory, and as a result we needed to change our model. So what have we done? We've quite simply changed our model from one of holding stock for a longer period to one of selling through stock quicker, faster, and obviously trying to make the sales faster so that we can actually stay within the restock limits Amazon gives us. Now, how are we doing this? We're also working with our repricers, tweaking our rules to try and facilitate that sell-through rate that's going to really support us in maintaining our stock levels within Amazon's working limits. Now, the net impact of all of this is that at the end of the day, we're probably going to grow our revenue quicker. I'll hit that £1 million mark, but on the short side, the ROI per sale is going to be a lot less. So that is going to have a really big impact upon me, and it's something that we're testing on, but at the moment, we're just working on it and seeing what's happening. But that is pretty much an update of what happened in June last month that I have seen in my business and some big changes that have happened. Quick question for you guys. I'm sharing my plans for July 2021. I've just talked about June 2021. I want to know what happened in your business, and hey, what have you got planned for next month? Writing down goals, writing down targets is the key to success. Let me know in the comments down below, what results do you want to achieve in July 2021? Okay, this leads me nicely onto my plans for July. Now, let's just go through that. So, first things first, let's talk about it. After encountering the stock limit issues that we talked about with Amazon, we've seen that our selling price was probably too high and our stock wasn't selling quick enough. So as a result, we're still going to be testing the new business model of whereby we are looking to increase the velocity of sales, decrease the length of time we're holding stock for, and also as well, just making sure we're turning that stock really well. The net impact is it's going to reduce our ROI. So in our new business model, we're more going to be working on maybe lower ROIs, but hopefully a higher turnover or higher velocity of sales that's going to support us in maintaining the restock limits that Amazon has now imposed. Now, not only that, the new structure is also going to be supplemented by having new reprices or repricing rules, just to make sure we're facilitating that speed of sales. That's going to be super important for us. So we're working with our existing repricer to make sure that we're actually keeping the sales velocity going. But in addition to that, we're doing the usual analysis through Keeper, looking at how much stock we should analyze or buy and sell within a 30-day period. So that is something that we're doing. Now, to summarize, the new goal of the business model is to ensure the maximum amount of profit whilst keeping within the restock limits. Now, that is something really important to understand, in the fact that we are likely to see a lower ROI, but we're going to probably increase the revenue, and the result is cash profits will probably be the same, but we're going to have to do more work for the same amount of cash. It's a bit of a pain, but you know what? Amazon's changing and we're going to have to react, and we're going to see how this new business model works out. Number two, in line with those changes, our next plan is to test a new repricer. We've been tweaking non-stop with Repricer Express, or should we say it's called Repricer, and we are going to be moving over to SDK's Repricer to see how that works, to see how it's going to perform versus our repricer. So I'll keep you updated on that, and also keep using new reprices. That's going to be super important, but I'll keep you updated and obviously let you know how that gets on. But what I will say is, if you do have any reprices in mind, or if you think I should try, let me know in the comments down below. That's going to be really helpful. Now, the third thing we're doing as well, because we're trying a new business model, is the whole team are having weekly team meetings on a Friday. Now, we have a team meeting on a Monday as normal, which is like, here's what we're doing this week, guys, setting the tone and agenda. But on the Friday is a debrief meeting. Now, quite simply, this is to talk about the team structure, the suggestions, the feedback. It's an open talk session about the problems, the concerns they're having. Why? Because we want to listen to them, we want to hear the problems, and then we can put solutions in for the following week. It's about action during the week, and then listening on the Friday, having open, honest relationships, which are going to help all of us achieve our goals as a business and also on an individual level. That's why on Friday we have these meetings, just to feedback, to listen, to learn, so that on Monday we can tweak and reassess where we want to go and improve the business going forward. And I love that. I think that's fantastic. Now, the next challenge I've set my team over this month as well is to work less hours. I know you're like, what the hell, Tom? Come on, you should get your team to work more hours. You've got a £121,000 loan. But the short answer is, it's not right. It's not the right answer. So what have I done for this? Well, quite simply, I asked my purchasing manager and my purchasing assistant to spend less hours working on the business. Why? Because in the past, they used to work between 12 and 14 hours a day, which is just too much. It's not fair on them. It's not sustainable. But what I wanted them to do is reduce down their buying hours from 12 down to 8. And hey, if they work the extra hour doing some administration, that's fine. But physically purchasing is only 8 hours. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday they're only allowed to spend 4 hours purchasing. And I wanted them to be so strict with this, or I want them to be so strict with this, because it's not fair on them to work so many hours. So I want them to go from a 60-hour week of purchasing down to a 36-hour week. Now, this is a reduction of 40% in their working hours. Now, what I will say is we've already had 1 week of this already, and quite simply, the team have managed to outdo my expectations to them. They managed to achieve in not a 60-hour week, but a 36-hour week, not a spend, which is a typical record before of about £20,000 in 1 week, but they actually went up to about £29,000, which is insane. They did less hours and they managed to spend more. So there's a good analogy we use there. It's called, I think Abraham Lincoln said it, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'm going to spend the first 5 sharpening the axe. And I spoke to my manager about this, and I talked to him about it, and I said, look, stop working more hours, stop working just doing the same chopping with a blunt axe. Take time to sharpen the axe and become more efficient. And I can see it already in the reduction of hours and the increase in output, how he's improved his result. 36 hours, he's now managed to spend more money in this less time, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. That is amazing. And I hope to see more of that into July. Now, another strategy we're doing in July is also trying to improve our IPI score. Not that we really need to. Right now we're running about 540, but if we can improve it and learn how it really works, then I'm going to be really grateful. Now, I'd like to give a big shout out to Mr. Sean Gilbert, and he shared some tips about benefiting or it's going to help his Amazon business because he got his IPI score super high. Now, the usual routine of my business or my team, which is about deleting old listings, fixing stranded inventory and updating prices to improve the IPI score, we're going to continue doing, but also we're going to implement some of Sean's recommendations that he made on a Facebook post where he mentioned 2 things with out of stock items. First of all, if the stock is fast selling, then keep it, but convert it from FBA to FBM, and to make sure that it doesn't show up in your FBA out of stock. Now, the second one he talked about is if it's a slow selling item, what you do is delete the listing once it's out of stock and then remove it from FBA. Now, the caveat, it might take days to update, so you've got to check this daily, so just be aware of that. And my team are testing out these new improvements or these suggestions to see if we can improve our IPI score going forward. But what I want to say is a big shout out to Mr. Sean Gilbert. Fantastic, I really appreciate the information and thank you for sharing. So if I can get my IPI up to a really good score, let's call it 600-700, then I'll certainly create a video to support you guys in how I did that and what I learned from Sean Gilbert. Okay, so I'm sharing with you now my plans for July 2021. Now, the one thing which I'll say is I don't do my Amazon business that much. I have a team of 7 VAs that help me run my business. Now, I say help me, they do it, they run it all. I pretty much run my Amazon business on 2 to 3 hours a week. I support them, I set direction, and we're on a road now, on a mission to do £1 million, which is absolutely amazing. Now, if you maybe want to do the same as me, you want to look at growing a team to help grow your Amazon business so that, hey, you can get bigger, but also as well, maybe have a bit more free time. What should you do? Well, you should think about getting a VA, a virtual assistant. Now, if you are thinking about getting a VA to grow your business, I always recommend first things first is to get a sourcing VA. Now, the reason why I say this is because sourcing VA finds deals that you buy, resell for profit. What do? They add value back into your business because they are finding deals that you can resell for profit. Now, if you are looking for a sourcing VA, look no further than the FastTrackFBA VA Academy. Now, this is a service I created whereby we are finding, hiring, training and supporting VAs in your business for 12 weeks and they'll go on to work forever in your business. Now, quite simply, we've had 30 customers a month coming to us for VAs, and they're not just coming back for 1, but they're coming back for 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because they understand building a team is the key to success. And then number 2, they understand that we can deliver a great virtual assistant for their business that's going to help them grow. If you want to know more, and hey, if you are thinking about it and you want to have a free 30-minute consultation call, have a look at the link down below. I'll drop a link down there that is going to allow you to book in a free 30-minute call with my team and learn more about if a VA is right for your business. Check it out, trust me, it's going to help you grow your business. This leads me nicely onto chapter 3, top tips to work smarter. Now, number 1, I'd really recommend respond quickly. If you're encountering issues with your Amazon business, as much as possible, get in the practice of responding quickly. In our case, we had stranded inventory, we got problems with our fixed price alerts, Amazon account health, and even just like issues around our suppliers as well. Getting on that super fast is going to be really important. Now, I mentioned it earlier, I have an admin VA, and trust me, she is on it. So again, having VAs is going to be so helpful in your business if maybe you're a busy person like me. Number 2, I'd really recommend sharpen the axe. Now, I talked about it earlier. Abraham Lincoln said if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 5 sharpening the axe. Now, remember with my purchasing manager, when I asked him to increase the spend that he was doing every month or every week, he went from probably 8 hours to 10 hours to 12, up to 14 where he was. And as a result, it wasn't using a sharper axe to chop down the tree. We needed to reevaluate. So quite simply, by reconstraining his time down to 8 hours, he had to get more efficient. He had to sharpen that axe. And the net result was that he went from spending 20,000 and 14 hours a day up to 28,000, 29,000 in less time. What did he do? He threw the axe out completely and he got a chainsaw out and started chopping the trees down. And that is what I love. So be very mindful about sharpening the axe all the time. Don't just keep increasing hours, get better at what you're doing. Now, my third top tip for you guys is make your meetings productive. Now, for me, I really value my time and I'm always setting an agenda for my meetings so that I'm not wasting any time or waffling. Now, for you, I'd really recommend it's important to outline the important things that you want to achieve. Again, you come to a meeting to achieve a result. So what's your outcome? What's your result you're looking at from your meeting? And then everything stays on agenda, everything stays focused during that meeting to ensure that you are out finishing that meeting or getting from the meeting meeting the results that you are looking for, not only from yourself, but also from your team. Now, what I would highlight about this is that I keep my meetings pretty brief, but I try and make sure they're productive as possible. I want to end with the results at the end of it to ensure that my meetings are super productive. Now, number 4, I talk about this all the time in my VA videos. Communicate, and once you think you've communicated enough, you probably haven't, you need to communicate some more. How do you do this? You continually talk, you strengthen your communication skills, and it's going to allow you to communicate better with your team so that they understand you, but also as well, it's going to mean that you're not wasting time having to redo things, having to straighten out misunderstandings or miscommunications. Over communication is so important. There's a famous phrase that I've listened to and I've used many times in my life from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And what do I mean by this? Is I will try and communicate something out, and then I'll ask questions to see if the person who I'm communicating to has understood what I've said. That's super important because I'm communicating to ensure that people understand what I'm saying, and also setting the direction. But also I'm seeking to understand that I understood what they said as well. So communicate, and then communicate some more. Now, the 5th thing which I'll recommend for you guys is focus on one task at a time. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of this. I think sometimes I can multitask, I can do many things, maybe my phone, maybe working at the same time. It's rubbish, doesn't work, and I know that I'm actually really distracted. So, quite simply, focusing on one task at a time, not switching between one another, but allocating time in your calendar to just doing one thing, putting the phone away is going to really help you get great results, be super productive, and allow you to achieve those goals that you're looking for. So focus or practice focusing on one thing at a time. Now, the final thing, which I'll say number 6, is automate as many tasks as you can. For example, for us, when we do things like uploading repricing, maybe we do cost of goods, we're trying to automate that process as quickly as possible using things such as the ultimate sourcing sheet, which allow us to manage these processes very quickly, efficiently, and by using great tools and software, even things such as repricers that are going to allow you to automate the manual processes. The more you can automate, the quicker and more efficient you're going to be, and the more successful your business will be. But hey, they are my top tips that are going to help you out in your business today in July 2021. Now, what I will say is if you are starting out on Amazon and you want to be successful during 2021, what I'll say is I'll drop a link around here to a video about how to be successful on Amazon FBA in 2021. So check that out, it's going to really help you. But what I will say is if you like this video, give me a big thumbs up, and hey, hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more about my journey and learnings for you. But what I will say is from me, Thomas Parkinson and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.